Today I will be sharing with you what I learned from my journey when I was in search for my life partner between Egypt and Europe. And how is it like dating in the Arabic world, in Egypt specifically, and in Europe? I'm Teresa Khalil. I'm a writer, a documentary filmmaker from Egypt. I'm living in Europe for now almost 12 years. I want to share my unique perspective on dating. So I have a long journey to find my life partner because I was someone different, I think out of the box, and I didn't belong to the East, and later I discovered that I don't belong to the West. So it was really difficult for me to find my life partner, and I had very weird and strange requirements. So how is it dating in Egypt? So usually in Egypt there is arranged marriages and there may be love stories. So this can happen at university, at work. Some people get attracted to each other and they are in love. But in love in Egypt doesn't mean anything. It just means attraction without any kind of touching or even saying. And I was in love before in Egypt, and I didn't tell him I love you, he didn't tell me I love you. We didn't have any kind of interaction or any kind of, we were just, you can say we were just friends, but we were attracted to each other, but we don't act on it. We don't do anything. The reason for that is that, of course, it is against the society rules to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and also it is religiously not allowed, and also by law you can't have, like, it's not respected by the society. And also if you do something beyond, so sex before marriage is not allowed, and it's not just sex but even any kind of touching. And this is already approved by the law, because if me as an Egyptian go with someone to a hotel, for example, I could be arrested for trying to have a relation or sex before marriage. So when I was dating in Egypt, I was using, of course, I tried everything in Egypt. I worked in many places, but nothing was happening because I had a different mentality, as I said. So I could be attracted to someone, but I just we can't proceed further because I know that I don't want to marry someone with such mentality. So it was just like in Egypt, it was just attraction when it comes to, for example, my colleagues at university or at work. I also was doing a lot of activities and it was the same thing. And then I started online dating, and what I liked about online dating is that you can write in your profile what are your requirements, what are you looking for. And I started meeting some Egyptians or Arabs in general who seems to have similar values. For example, I didn't want to have children, and I met few who didn't want to have children, but maybe not for philosophical reasons, like I shared in my Why I Don't Want to Bring My Children to Life video. But for other reasons, maybe some couldn't have children, some didn't want responsibility, but still I didn't feel that we connected. And also the other problem in Egypt when it comes to dating online is that men don't respect the women that they meet online. It is changing now, but that's how it was, and maybe still is. So if someone met or got to know his wife from online dating, then he will just be harassing her during the marriage about where he found her. It's like finding her in a prostitute house or something. So yeah, it was difficult in Egypt to date because, as I said, I can't get to know the person because I feel all the time that I'm doing something that is not respectable. If I meet someone, people need to know why I'm meeting him or why we are together. And if I'm attracted to someone, people all the time ask me like, why you are together, what's going on, when you will get married. I just can't get a chance to get to know someone without the pressure of like, what's going on, what is happening, when you will get married. Or So this is how dating is in Egypt. No sex before marriage, and if you want to have a respectable relation, then you need to get engaged as soon as possible and get married as soon as possible. And there is always this risk that because I was in love, and many people see love as a sin, so maybe my husband himself will just give me hard times if I married him. So that was an issue. Then I moved to Europe and I started discovering what is this world, new world for me in Europe, how to date. And I started also using online dating. And I came to Europe with some, I don't know, expectations, which I got to know from what people say in the Arabic world about Europe. For example, how that families are separated, no one care about the other, they don't have the family values. This made me, when I met someone online, and then I discovered that he was living with his mother, and I thought that was amazing. Like, oh my God, he must be a very special European, because I know that in Europe or in the West, people don't care about their families. So I had some misunderstandings, misjudgments, which I wouldn't have in Egypt, because I understand the Egyptian mentality very well. So in Egypt, if I meet someone or if we go out somewhere, then probably the man needs to pay. In Europe, that was a bit confusing. One guy told me that, listen, we are here in the West, each one pay for himself. I'm not supposed to pay for you. Don't expect this. And then I met another guy who wanted to pay for me. And I was like, I thought that in Europe the man doesn't pay. And he said, well, each one can pay for himself, but I want to pay for you. And of course, now living in Europe for more than 12 years, I know that this is still a problematic thing. Who pays the bill? It's a thing. Like, women expect the man to pay, but some men now are not happy with this. Some women are not happy with this. They want to pay for themselves. So it's a controversial topic. My biggest problem in dating in Europe was that is different, that we don't have sex before marriage, and in Europe people have sex before marriage. So what was giving me hard times was this kiss. Like, I meet someone for the first time in my life and he wants to kiss me, and it is a sign that the date went okay. So we need to kiss at the end, and no matter how I explain that I don't do that and this is not possible, it's just I felt that they can't understand it. And I also can't understand this concept. Like, why would I go around meeting people for the first time and kissing them? Like, can you imagine the amount of guys I could be kissing just by dating for the first time? The other thing I don't understand about dating in the West is, when do you think about marriage? Like the problem in the West is that there is no clear goal. So I could be in a relation with someone for years and in a hope that he one day will surprise me and propose, like you see in videos. So I should be just waiting for this moment that he will surprise me, and then I will think, oh, maybe I'm not actually interested in marrying you. So why I'm with you? I don't know. And actually, I know some people, when the guy proposed after a few years and she said no, they just separated. It didn't work out. So it's not possible that, unless you have like a reason, for example, you don't want to be under the laws of marriage or something like that. So you prefer to have a partnership agreement. Okay, but if you're just living with someone and you have no goal, you don't talk about what is the purpose of this relation or why you are together, or it's just so confusing. And I wasn't dating like that in the West. I was just, from the first moment, I said, listen, I'm looking for marriage. And the reason for this is that when I first came to Europe, I thought that the girlfriend has the same rights as a wife. But then I discovered that no. Like when I'm a wife, I can have, for example, health insurance of my husband. Like there are some privileges for the wife. So why wouldn't I have them? Once I met a guy, and actually I made a documentary filming our dating experience, which is love surfing. And I will leave a link if you want to watch it. And he told me that I'm not into marriage, but if the one I love wants to be married, then I will marry her. And I thought that this makes sense. On the other hand, I also know another friend who is in a relation for almost 15 years now. She's waiting for him to propose, and he still didn't. And it seems he will not. So she told me that as they started to grow old, so she had to tell him, like, listen, I can't introduce you anymore as my boyfriend. I will say that you are my partner. So yeah, in the West, this is so confusing. Like, what is the purpose of this relation? Why we are together? It is not clear. And I met males and females who are not clear about it. Like, I can see a girl, she's in a relationship, she loves her boyfriend, but she doesn't want a lifetime commitment. And coming from the Arabic world, this is something I just don't understand, because I love commitment. Of course, after I started dating in the West, I discovered that I also don't belong to the West. I think differently, I think out of the box, and also that not having children was also problematic. Because many people want to have children. I met a guy online who wrote in his profile that he doesn't want to have children. And then when I asked him after we met, so what is your, like, I have philosophical reasons, what are your reasons? And he said, who said I don't want to have children? I want. I was like, so why did you write this? He said, I wrote it so I can avoid all the women in their 30s or late 30s and beginning of 40s who want to have a man just for the purpose of having a child. So that was disappointing for me, that okay, sometimes people may write in their profile that they don't want to have children, and it's not true. That wasn't my only, of course, restriction. I also wanted someone who cared for healthy living. When I say I want to eat organic food, he understands what I'm saying. So someone on the same page. And that was also not easy, even in the West. My whole love surfing journey took about 9 years between Egypt, about 7 years, and then 2 years in Europe, between different countries. And then finally I found him. And he was in a different country. He was in Croatia, and I shared our love story in a video. So to be honest, I don't like how dating is in the East. I don't like how dating is in the West. And I just do things my own way. So in the West, I liked how I have freedom to get to know the person I'm going to marry, and there is no rush, there is no pressure. When are you going, what is going on between you two, why you are together, and this fear of having a male and a female together that you find in the East. I also didn't do it how people do it in the West, because my goal was clear. I knew what I wanted out of this relation, and I wasn't shy to say it like women are in the West. So women are embarrassed to tell the man, I'm looking for marriage, because they are afraid that he will run away or something. So I was clear, and I also didn't do my wedding in a way that is like the East or even like the West. I made it in a way that is unique and out of the box, and you can watch it here. So I would like to know from you, if you are from the East or from the West, how do you see dating, and are you happy with how dating is in your country? Let me know in the comment below. I would like to tell you that soon I am going to continue my journey to understand life, solve its mystery, and live it fully in the scrapbook of life. There is another documentary coming, and also there will be a podcast where I will be meeting people from different cultures and beliefs, trying to understand how they are overcoming suffering, life challenges, and how they explain this experience of existence. So you can subscribe. The podcast will be on YouTube and also on other platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, and other. If you missed the first documentary, The Scrapbook of Life, where I started my journey, you can watch it here. See you in a coming video.